NASA represents our hopes and dreams, everyone's hopes and dreams. No matter who you are, no matter where you are, you can look up. Anybody can do that. It represents that thing in all of us to do great things, right? It represents that hope, inspiration, exploration, all the things, the last frontier, and what better story to tell? I mean, it's literally the place where history is made, and we get to be right here. So I'm doing my job on a daily basis. Literally every day I wake up excited to come to work, honored to work here.
This is The Media Machine, where media, business, and innovation intersect. Hi, I'm Johanna Salazar, and I'll be your host as we examine the future of content, technology, and entertainment through the lens of 4 key pillars: process, profit, people, and planet. Today's guest is leading one of the boldest transformations in public media. Rebecca Sirmons is the general manager and head of NASA Plus, a global streaming platform built from inside one of the most iconic institutions in the world. With a background that spans HBO, Netflix, El Rey Network, and Conveyor Media, Rebecca has produced everything from Emmy-winning science shows to viral docuseries and documentaries, always with a deep sense of story, timing, and purpose. Now she's bringing that creative vision to NASA, where she's not just telling stories about space, she's reshaping how the world experiences it. Under her leadership, NASA Plus has gone from zero to an Emmy-winning platform, delivering everything from live spacewalks to ambient deep space series to powerful documentaries like Cosmic Dawn and The Color of Space. Launching new strategic partnerships with services such as Netflix and Amazon Prime, not only to share NASA's story globally, but to prepare for NASA Plus's biggest broadcast yet, the moon landing. Rebecca is a builder, a storyteller, and a leader who proves that even within a 66-year-old federal agency, there's room for innovation, heart, and humanity. Hi, Rebecca.
Hi.
Welcome to The Media Machine. I'm so excited to have you here.
This is amazing. Thank you so much.
So I wanted to start a little bit with storytelling with purpose. What makes space storytelling different from what you've produced and done in the past? And why do you think it resonates with people across generations and cultures?
Well, for me, this is, it's pure, right? NASA represents our hopes and dreams, everyone's hopes and dreams. No matter who you are, no matter where you are, you can look up. Anybody can do that. And, if you think of some, Star Trek, Star Wars, Hidden Figures, 2001 Space Odyssey, one of my personal favorites. It represents that thing in all of us to do great things, right? It represents that hope, inspiration, exploration, all the things, the last frontier, and what better story to tell? I mean, it's literally the place where history is made, and we get to be right here. So I'm doing my job on a daily basis. Literally every day I wake up excited to come to work, honored to work here. I'm a civil servant. I'm incredibly blessed that they brought me in from the private sector. And, we get to share NASA's story. What's better than that?
I feel your enthusiasm and your passion. And I feel like it's for us, people in media, it's like the most incredible way to serve.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Everybody here is happy. You walk in, everybody's smiling. It's the number one place to work in the government. It was actually quite shocking for me, to be honest, when I walked in the door. I was like, everybody's really happy to work here.
I feel like people would work there for free.
Well,
I think I would. And just so you know, I have this screensaver. This is the NASA Plus app. For those of you that don't know, you can go with your control, press the play pause button, hold it down, and it gives you the screensaver with all the images from NASA Plus. So that's what you guys see. If you're listening to this and then watching the YouTube video, you can see that.
Yes. It's so funny. I didn't even know that we have a very small but mighty app team, right? And they're always figure out ways to like make, and this is incredible. It's another one, speaking to our team. We have a great small but mighty team that just pulls off these little things.
So you've said that the platform, NASA Plus, is the heartbeat of NASA. What's
So
the deeper story? What's the deeper story there?
It's funny when people hear me talk here she goes about the heartbeat of NASA. I'm a firm believer in that NASA has a heartbeat. For me, it has a soul because it's the people behind it. Like people are doing these things, like human beings. Like the machinery didn't do all of this. Like there were humans on the moon. They're Hidden Figures. Those are real people. Apollo 13, real people. And there are people here that work at NASA every day to pull off the possible, make the impossible possible every day. Seriously. I mean, I've seen it in my own eyes. The story of the James Webb Space Telescope that was like almost canceled so many times. And look at what it does, right? And these people have been, working on the space telescope for like 25 years, right? And knowing that it had what, more several hundred single points of failure. I mean, it's just incredible. And that's where I get to work every day. And so and that's what it is for me, right? It's like capturing that human spirit and making sure that we like, I say this a lot, a little bit of, humanity or a little bit of a human experience helps the science go down. It's like, we need to tell stories with heartbeat.
I'm laughing because I'm thinking about when I was stuck in Mexico for the Latin VMAs and the eye of the hurricane was above us and they were telling us the show was going to get canceled. If that happened, I mean, a lot of money got wasted, all that stuff, but it doesn't impact humanity.
Right.
The James Webb Telescope documentary getting canceled will impact humanity.
It's funny because in Cosmic Dawn, shameless promotion here, brilliant documentary. We also got distribution through Giant Pictures. That documentary, when I first got here and I found out that there was a stack of archival following the James Webb Space Telescope for 25 years. Wow. If I was a network exec anywhere else, I'd be like, get that, we're making a show. Like stuff people hadn't seen before. And I was like, okay, that's going to be something. That's NASA Plus. Like that is a product for NASA Plus. And it's only something that we could do. Like we just have so much of it and we have the knowledge, right? And so that right there, again, it's like telling these stories of these scientists and engineers that you didn't know existed. You might have known a little bit, but they're real people, like they have families. Imagine working on something for 25 years, knowing that it could go south at any point.
Were you the one that was able to say, okay, guys, does anybody not realize what we're sitting on top of? Yes. We're sitting on top of gems.
Yes.
Wow.
Like, I came out from LA, right? They were like, okay, we want a stream platform. I'm like, okay, do you guys have content? They're like, yeah, it's all over the place. True story. So my first job was to go through our YouTube and just like start pulling content, and then just start calling people and asking about what they have. And then I met with a buddy of mine, Patrick Lynch over at Goddard. And he told me he's like, listen, we have all this footage from filming the James Webb Space Telescope for 25 years. And I was like, let's make it a doc. And at first it was going to be a series. And I was like, you know what? No, we got to really focus here. Time is of the essence, like, all that stuff. Let's really tell a good story here, and that's what happened, but it was the thing that like honestly sold NASA Plus to myself, because if I was in the private sector and I saw this come in, I'd be like, oh yes, and that's the thing. NASA films all of their missions. It's a requirement. There is all this archival. Yeah. Space Act in 1958. Like we have to share, we have to cover it. We have to share a story of the world. So, I'm a doc nerd, right? Like I love it. And so digging into that just iconic, archival helping shape these stories. And so I'm part of it from beginning to the end, making sure they're, I let the team do their thing, and I step in when need be. But yeah, beginning, middle, and end, I'm there for the entire process.
What did your first day look like? Tell me exactly. What is an executive producer, general manager of NASA Plus? What does day one look like for you?
Yeah.
It's like overwhelming.
Other than my eyes popping out of my head walking in and I grew up in Florida. Like, I'm obviously like a NASA nerd. I love it, right? So just a dream just being in the building, It was the first scrub for Artemis 1. And that was my first day. And I got to see, how the teams are working and what they do when they scrub and all that's when a scrub is when they have to reschedule the launch. I walked in and I realized the things that, the task at hand, which was overwhelming. Two things I need just for me as a leader is some sort of operations manual, some sort of structure, some sort of, here's how we're going to build this team. Here's how we're going to execute on each level, like, live broadcasts, original content, programming. I just started piecing everything together because it didn't exist. I remember staying up till like midnight, several nights in a row, because I just had to have that to move forward. Like, otherwise it would be complete chaos. I need process. And so that was a vital part, like organization. And working with the team that we have. Like, I couldn't go out and hire people, but I listened, I learned, I figured out, okay, who can do what, who's doing what, how we lean into these people, activate their skill sets. And we already had an amazing team. I just needed to kind of like position folks,
How big is the team?
Let's see. We probably have here at headquarters, probably like 10 total,
That's amazing. When you started, you knew you were going to do NASA Plus, or you had no idea?
I knew.
Okay.
I knew that I would be given the chance to like launch, build, run streaming platform. I'm like, heck yeah. Like, I get to get my hands dirty. And then part 2 of that is, so we have the operations manual, but again, it's like diving into content, seeing what we already have. So I'm not like wasting, like, I'm not going to waste resources. Like, what can we stitch together? What content can I literally stitch together to make a cohesive show? Color of space, that's all stitched together. It's called like figuring out how to work with what we got.
What was the first thing you did? What the IP?
Color space. I just remember seeing it for the first time, and I saw it was like a kind of like a live to tape show. And I was like, oh, where's the series? Like, in my gut, I was like, this is great, And it just wasn't. I was like, oh, that's it? Oh, well, that should be a series. It's every episode, And so that's how that, and that's won a ton of awards. And Space Out was second because I was at Goddard and I was watching some of the trippy imagery on one of their big monitors. And I was like, whoa, Space Out, man. And it just came to me, and I wanted to use this as the NASA Plus like tagline, but they were like, no, Rebecca, but turn on, tune in, and space out.
I think that's genius.
But it's honestly the most watched thing. And it's obviously so simple. It's obviously just like crazy music, imagery. And then obviously you go on to, we have a kid show, Far Out, which my 6-year-old's a huge fan of. It's like it's a basic kid show, but it shows you what it's like in NASA.
Those are the ones I watch. I'm trying to get, now that I know, because I was telling you before we started, shamelessly telling you the truth that I had not heard of NASA Plus. I feel very shameful. So yeah, what did you say to that?
Well, it's not a surprise to me, to be honest, and I'm not offended at all. As a government organization, it's different, right? We can't promote, we can't market, we don't have PR, we don't do any of that. We can just say when we have a launch or say when we have content up. So we really have to lean into our social media presence. We lean into live broadcasts. So we might insert like some sort of promotional material within our live broadcasts, right? But other than that, we just have to rely on the public seeing something and being like, oh. And that's what brings me to distribution partnerships. I think that's, our feed is free to anyone. Like anybody can take our feed. Obviously, you need some sort of agreement to work with a third party, like, private sector. So I kind of use my background and partnerships from before to figure out how to make it work within a government infrastructure, right? And it was possible. This is the way forward. I mean, the moon landing was broadcast by CBS. The camera was ours, the feed was ours, but it was broadcast on CBS. See, I want a bunch of CBSs. I want to really just get it in front of people.
How do you balance creative storytelling while working inside a government agency?
So, kind of what I was saying earlier, it's a good thing. I love it. I was like, this is kind of like working in industry, but with lots of rules, which is kind of nice, because I mean, it's kind of like winging it half the time.
Well, in a network, you have a lot of layers, but you also have a lot of advertisers, and like there's so many layers on top of layers. Here, a lot of those layers are kind of removed because you're not selling to anyone.
And as long as you, which I am, well studied up on, as long as you, follow the law and aren't asking for free stuff or ads or anything like that or what have you, it's pretty simple. And we can share our feeds, and so I'm really looking forward to keep on going, because when the moon landing comes around, I want to make sure that we're set up for success. I want people to watch it on other platforms. I want people to watch NASA Plus on other platforms.
What does the development process look like for you? Any protocols from content to distribution? Yes. Any example?
It's funny, like NASA, you would assume like it's just one, single one NASA, right? Well, I see it as like a bunch, like you have your different missions, you have your mission directorates, you have your different centers, like, you have like your, the space exploration, science, mission directorate, that sort of thing. And so everybody has their things that they want to focus on, the things that they want to, like, stories that they want to tell, right? And so number one, I focus on, okay, what are our mission priorities, right? Like brass tacks, like what do we want to like send out to the world right now? It's Artemis, right? Like Artemis 2, Artemis 3, going around the moon and then landing on the moon. Those are priorities. And so that's what we're currently working on content-wise. And then the other side of that is, public. Like I'm public first. And there's also the side of it, making sure through the process, if somebody's like, on science, for example, Cosmic Dawn, great example, we had this idea, but we didn't know. It had to go through the process with science to make sure that everything was, was it cool to say this? Was it cool to do it this way? Making sure everything. And the thing about NASA is everything is 100% accurate. That's the one thing I think that separates us from anyone else, right? Is that we have this true north.
Anyone listening who's never seen NASA Plus, where do they start? What's the first thing they need to do? What's the first thing they need to watch?
I would say, and I know I talked about it earlier, with Cosmic Dawn. Okay. Just because it tells the story of the people who work behind the scenes. It shows the heartbeat of NASA, something that people have never seen before. And it really sets a tone for what NASA Plus is and the types of stories that we're going to be telling. Obviously, our live broadcasts, definitely watch those. But yeah, Cosmic Dawn.
And you signed a deal with Netflix. Tell us about that. How did that come about? And why? Why Netflix?
One of my, strategically speaking, my end goal is the moon. Not I feel like I'm really aiming high here.
Aiming for the moon here.
I'm aiming for the moon here. But really, I'm looking at it like from a technological perspective. I'm looking at streaming tech. I'm looking at like big picture, right? And okay, what do we need to get there? Like we can't do this alone, And so working with colleagues. I'm in the Streaming Video Technical Alliance, which is like, a bunch, it's a group, it's top engineers from all the streaming platforms. It's really coming together to make sure that we can pull this off, and the only way we can pull it off is leveraging the private sector and distribution. So we don't break the internet, because that can happen. We've done it before. NASA has been streaming for a very long time.
I feel like they're always trying to break the internet. I feel like Netflix and Amazon are always trying to break the internet.
And Netflix, and Netflix has, they can do it. They can hang, and it's been an incredible honor. I mean, it's more of a technological, partnership. It's like, again, we share our feed with everyone. So it's no different than putting our feed on YouTube or on Amazon, right? We just had to have an agreement to do so on their side. But same agreement we use for Amazon Prime. And, but yeah, that's kind of why, right? And getting into the, groove of working with, Netflix and the Amazon Primes to make sure we just can get our stuff out there to third parties and continue that drumbeat towards the moon. So it's more of a technological move, I would say. I just think it's important for people to see NASA, to be able to access NASA.
And when does it start?
We haven't announced a set broadcast, but it'll be very soon.
All right, cool. I want to talk about leadership. You've had a life before NASA, believe it or not.
Yes.
A very, very long, successful life before NASA. You've built teams across multiple, businesses throughout the industry at HBO, at El Rey, at Netflix, and now to NASA. What kind of leadership is required to succeed in your experience?
I started out my first adult industry job was on Hogan's Knows Best, back in the day at Pink Secret Productions. And I was at UCF, right, in Orlando. That was my first big kid job. And then the Ellen DeGeneres show swooped me up and I moved to LA. That's how I even got to LA. And I honestly, personally had a great experience on the show. But they gave me kind of my first break. So for me, based on just from NASA, I would say, and I say this all the time because it is super important. I had no idea how vital my background and I will kick it to college. And I know we never say oh, because I got my degree in this totally matters. It actually did where I went to school. Because at UCF, and this is going a while back, you had to take computer engineering classes. You had to take coding classes. And at the time I was like, oh my God, I want to make movies. Why am I learning all this stuff? This doesn't make any sense. But graphic, all of it, the whole thing. And now with streaming and building these things like that, it's natural. I totally get it. You don't have to, I work with engineers all day. That's what it was for me. So that was kind of a weird secret superpower that I had that I didn't know I had, which was kind of cool. But also just from the, I learned a lot at El Rey Network, because we were a small network. It was kind of the same type, small vibe, Robert Rodriguez, great mentor. It's learning a lot on how to do, with very little, and from the leadership perspective, it's that, I really believe in people. Everybody laughs. They call me, I do not look like a cheerleader, but they are you are the biggest cheerleader. I am a massive, I hype people up. And that, for me, that's my leadership. That in a nutshell, that's what I do. I lift my team, because if they aren't happy, it shows. It shows in the content. I don't talk down to people. I'm definitely not a yeller, one of those. But it's just, I just really believe in the goodness of what we do and the team that we have. So, and I just let them do their thing, You just give them grace. Grace is a big one. Give people grace. We need more of that.
You mentioned earlier that your career prepared you for this, like
Hmm.
that you're
Yeah.
the right person for this job
Hmm.
because you've done it.
Hmm.
Tell us a little bit about any projects in the past that
Yeah.
maybe can highlight that, or
So
how did life prepare you for this job?
I know what I was saying before, like UCF, and I know it's random to give a shout out to a school, but like my education there. So I had like all the tools in my brain. Like I already had it. So that was there. Then working in documentaries honestly prepared me for this just because,
Mm-hmm.
especially with independent film, like you are literally working with nothing. It's like just you and Finn hustling and trying to get it done and trying to get it sold, trying to distribute it, like
Yeah.
it's very thankless. And being a producer is the most thankless, thankless job. Let's be
Yeah.
clear. We all know it's like we deal with all the problems. And it trained me. From Bill Nye, what Netflix, that was honestly where a seed was planted for me. They were like, wherever I go, at some point I need to walk towards science because it was the most
Mm.
enjoyable time, the most purest content, you know.
How did that show happen? Did you greenlight that show or somebody
No,
else did?
no, it was already greenlit. I got it through one of my old friends from Ellen, actually. And she was like, you got to do your thing here. You got to get in there. And I was like, okay. And I was like, how are they do it? Da-da. And when I got there, I was like, I don't care. I'm all in. Like, let's make this happen. And so that was great, but it really planted the seed for me on how to tell science stories and make it entertaining and also see the science storytellers, the science communications people. I didn't know they existed. So now I'm just like at a big Bill Nye show. And
Insane.
yeah, and then the tipping point for me, honestly, was during the pandemic, right? Like,
Really? Why?
yeah. So I was like, trying to find more content to consume. We all were. We were like, hey, what's next? What do
Yeah.
we got? And I remember my daughter was like maybe one or two, way too young to understand what a live broadcast was. But she said Bob and Doug, like Bob, Doug, Bob, Doug. And I was like, I am going to make sure that we watch this launch. Like Bob and Doug crew, the first crew growing up in a long time, was during the pandemic. And a buddy of mine was producing the broadcast for Discovery. And I was going through the channels and I was on Discovery. I couldn't find it. And I was trying to, and I was like, wait a minute. And then I went on the NASA app at the time and I clicked at it and it looked like DOS. And I
Hmm.
got really mad. Like, I was like, what is this? What is this? Like, this is so sad. Like, I want to fix this. Like, people must be able to find NASA. Like, this must happen now. And so I called my buddy. He was doing the Discovery broadcast, and he was like, "Oh, you have to go to YouTube." And I was like, "YouTube?" Even though YouTube's amazing, I was like, "I want to go to NASA to watch this." It really planted a seed for me, and it was really important for me to watch that with my daughter. Again, she was way too young to understand, but it was important. And
Oh.
we need that. Like, we all need that for our kids, for the next generation, for humanity to be able to have access and to experience that. It's a must.
Speaking of the next generation and the future, how do you see live space content
Mm.
evolving? Is there a growing demand for access? Tell us what you're seeing on your side.
On the technical side, on the engineering side, right? I see a lot of interest, right? We have our partners. A lot of people are streaming, their launches and stuff. We aren't the only ones. But I do think that what I'm seeing more of is collaboration. And
Mm.
collaboration, and this sounds silly, but it's like collaboration with benefit of all. Like, there really is this wonderful, just collaborative spirit with industry. that's been amazing. And that's what I see. I haven't experienced this. It's brutal, the industry, and I love the industry, like love it, but it's hard at times, right? And there isn't much content that we're like, everybody comes together, we're going to work with you to make sure that this happens.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, what I see is it's bringing us all together to do something good.
What do you think about, I'm just curious, what do you think about live entertainment right now in our industry?
I think it's the thing. Reality's kind of, docs, they were saying down, even though I like to hold on to docs. Yeah, I think live is where it's at. I mean, it's where we see our biggest numbers, right? Because you have to tune in. Like you have to. It's like forcing people to. As you were saying earlier, it's like we want it now. Well, that's the one thing you can't just want it now. It has to be happening live. So I do think live broadcasts will continue to grow. I track a lot of the, sports, live broadcasts. I love what Tubi did, with the Super Bowl. I thought it was, really cool. And they've shared their testing and how they accomplished that. Like, obviously, working with like Netflix and so on and so forth. So it's, yeah, as far as it, I would say from like one of the biggest things for me, and I definitely, with live is it you can't like fake it, like, I mean, well, who knows, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, you're right. With like, AI, maybe.
Yeah. But like this is like, it's real. It is what it is, and it's hard. Like live streaming is hard. And that's something that I always, everybody hears me go on. I'm like, live streaming on Earth is hard. Imagine how hard it's going to be from the moon. Good news is NASA's been live streaming for a very long time, before most actually, but we have to be prepared.
When we're up there, are we going to see 4K?
I want to. Yeah. Wow. I mean, does
the technology exist?
Oh yeah.
For space?
Oh yeah. But it's more of how do you get the bandwidth down, right? It's like how the pipes can only take so much from the moon, right? So when you think of the tech, the encoders, you think, all the cameras coming in and limited bandwidth.
But is it like the regular, are you taking actual cameras or do you have to build cameras for space?
Oh, you mean like off the shelf? So yeah, so cameras, they always have to become like space rated, right? So like they go through radiation testing, they go through all the testing. And right now, as of right now, we are working with the Hulk. They call it the Hulk, HULK. It's a Nikon Z9, and it's what the astronauts will be holding to stream live from space. So, but yeah, that's what we have thus far. Obviously, we have other cameras as well, but yeah, space rated, right? Like, will it, extreme hot and cold temperatures? Will the radiation just break it? And then you have the encoders, right? Like, okay, forget about the cameras. Will the encoder work? There's not like a space rated encoder, so we have to do that. Like, so I've been having a lot of meetings, and we've been working internally on making sure that we're all set, right? Testing all that stuff, having contingencies, and figuring out what can work best, work with what we have. So yeah, that's the fun stuff for me. Again, it's like problem solving. It's like, okay, this is completely impossible, but we'll figure it out. We're using a lot of what we learned from the previous moon landing, which is pretty cool. That regolith is very, like, it's sticky. It can get on, it can get in the camera, it can get in, encoder.
I just learned what that was on your show, Far Out.
Yes, I know. It's funny. So funny story. Well, I from a private sector. I'm a space nerd, but I don't know. Like,
I was like, what is regolith?
Yeah. And so I watched and I literally said to everybody on our NASA Plus, like we have like a big call with our team. And I was like, you guys, I finally understand what regolith is. And they're like, Rebecca. And I'm like, I'm just saying thank you because I can show this to, and I did. I brought that episode to my daughter's school and the kids were just jaw drop. And I was like, oh, cool. Because again, we don't, I'm sure you know this. It's like we can think that we love something and think it's great and, oh, this would be great. But until you put it in front of some kids or put it in front of the public, you don't know.
You have no idea yet.
Yeah. So, and that show's important to me because it's very specific.
Are you gonna start exploring like other formats? Are you gonna start doing like unscripted? Are you gonna start doing some blind love is blind on stage?
Now that would be amazing. We also have, and this is something just to put out there to people, right? Like NASA has all these, like they have the Human Rover Challenge that happens every year. College students and kids from around the world come to Huntsville and they build their own rovers and they race. What a show. Like, and this happens every year, right? They also have these, like, it's called NIAC. It's like a tech challenge. They have food challenge. They have all these things going on at NASA every year that people can tap into creatively. Like, I just want people, I just don't have the bandwidth nor the time, nor to cover it all. But man, if people just knew, if our creatives like yourself and like others just knew that there are these amazing stories that are already happening, all you need to do is press record. It's really
so that would help you guys. Like if creatives would just come to you and say, "Hey, I want to do this."
Yeah, and what I would ask is that, I mean, it couldn't. So for NASA Plus, everything's made internal. It has to be made internal. Like we don't accept outside content. But what I will say is that to get something like greenlit for NASA to basically to work with NASA to get access to get the whole thing, you have to have some sort of agreement with a network, right? And then you can work with us, your show, film it, whatever, and distribute wherever you want, but that's usually how the partnerships work there. That's how people like do their shows or what have you.
There you go, creators. Especially now, I think in one of the articles you said one of your missions is to get like space content into every classroom.
Yes, and one of our we have a distribution partnership with Canopy, and they're in every library, school, college, globally. So that's a way in as well. It's just figuring out. It's just different now. Distribution, right? It's like different. What networks, and thinking about different types of networks. But I think kids' content and feel good content. I'm no expert, but I feel like that's kind of the secret sauce right now. And we have a lot of it.
How is AI or other technologies like AR, VR? How are you guys using them?
So we are using them, NASA Plus in general, but NASA is working with the latest as far as like AI and trying to really implement it and in a very, nothing's generative, nothing, we aren't like making anything, but more of to help with processes and whatnot. But yeah, we are adapting it. We are, adopting it. And yeah, it's interesting because I'm kind of, it'll be the last stroke of AI when it hits my, our area, because we don't want to, do anything generative for AI with like moon landing or anything like that. Like that's not what we our picture is the true picture. Like it is the real thing. And there are a lot of people out there. I remember I was moving to LA. People thought, oh, wow, you're working at NASA. We didn't land on the moon. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it.
Really?
Yes. Like, regular people, like educated people were saying this. And I was like, wow. And it just, I remind myself every day, it's like, it's our duty to share the truth, right? You know, and that's, we're responsible for that. So that's why we have to have a feed from the moon. We have to, got to pull it off somehow.
What's next for NASA Plus?
Yes.
Besides all the Emmys and the Webbies.
Yeah. So right now, currently, like where we're at, we're obviously in production, more episodes with Far Out, more spaced out episodes. Those are pretty low lift. Looking into developing and getting out like some Artemis 2 documentary that I think will be really cool. So that sort of thing. So really mission focused. But Artemis 2 is going to be pretty fascinating because people, you know, it's our reflection on the Apollo days, right? Apollo, you know, there was the mission where you flew around, and like this is that mission now, right? And it's very important to take these steps before you land on the moon. You can't just go straight there. So I think it's important to share that story, just explain it. Because again, like, what is Artemis? Why are we going to the moon? A lot of people don't know why. And I'm like, we're going to the moon so we can go to Mars. Like, it's literally just to kind of figure out like a base camp, ultimately, so we can go beyond. Like, how cool is that?
Rebecca, thank you so much. This has been so amazing. So lovely. How can our listeners find you?
Yes. So you can find me on my LinkedIn. Just type in Rebecca Sirmons. There aren't many. and yeah, LinkedIn's the best. My other socials are all private, but yes, definitely. And plus.nasa.gov. That's, watch NASA Plus and watch us on our partners, such as Amazon Prime, Netflix, and YouTube.
Very cool.
Awesome.
Rebecca, thank you. Have an amazing day, week, month, year, and I'm sure we'll be in touch soon. So thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. Talk soon. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to our show. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. You can follow us at The Media Machine Podcast on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. The Media Machine is hosted by Johanna Salazar. Our producers are Mia Vinciguerra and Johanna Salazar. This episode was edited by Adriana Saravia. This episode features music from Envato Elements. Thanks for listening.